When it comes to NFL division rivalry matchups, they're always the most fun matchups out of the entirety of the year for a team, whether it's in total domination or if it's in nail-biting close fashion. However, though, as the Lions get ready to play against the Bears on this upcoming Sunday, the real question is how much of a bloodbath could it be for the Bears as they get set to play the Lions? We're going to talk about it in today's episode, folks, so stay tuned. It started with an owner who had a last name fans despised, hiring a coach that the experts thought was crazy,
but I got a plan, I swear to you,
who traded for a QB that was said to be washed up. They said the Detroit Lions would never amount to anything, that it would always be the same old Lions. But this team, our team, has a new identity, defined and expressed by the crazy head coach.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes, I will beat your ass.
Led by the QB that nobody thought was good. Motor City Mania is in full swing and ready to start. So join the show and be prepared for kneecap biting, because Motor City Mania starts right now. Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host David T. Pike, and we're diving in right now. As always, to those that are coming back to the show, I just want to say welcome on back. Thank you all for your view, thank you all for your support and patronage, thank you all for everything that you do. You guys are so wonderful to the channel, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. And to those that are tuning into my channel for the very first time, I just want to say welcome on in. Thank you all for giving my show a shot. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content, and likewise, hopefully I gain your subscription. And with that being said, to everybody and anybody, I just want to say God bless, hope you enjoy the show, and let's get into the content. So, here's the thing, folks. As we Lions fans know, there is nothing better in the world than when we get to play against our division rivals. It is always a fun week because we get to trade barbs with the division rivalries fans. We get to trade barbs with them all throughout the week, and we always get to throw the jabs. It's just so much fun. But it's even more fun for us Lions fans because when you think about it, ever since going to last year, we have done exceedingly well against our division rivals. If you think about it, all the division rivalry games we had last year up until now, we are 6-1 in. The only loss we have was when we were on a road against the Minnesota Vikings. And we ain't playing the Vikings this week. Who are we playing? Oh, that's right. The lowly, hodgepodge, Winnie the Pooh Bears. Yes, I'm going to have some fun with this episode just in case y'all were wondering. But let's be serious here in the moment. The Lions are right now topping the division for the NFC North. Yes, I understand the Vikings are 6-4, but the Lions are 7-2. It would take a pretty big collapse for the freaking Vikings to overtake the Lions, and I don't think that's going to happen. But here's the thing. The difference in terms of talent, in terms of consistency, in terms of just overall roster talent, in terms of production, whatever term you'd like to use, the difference between the Lions and the Bears, it's about as vast as if you wanted to call it the East is from the West. Like, they never touch. The Bears are just not in the same ballpark as the freaking Lions are. It's just not even close. And what we're going to talk about over the next couple of days is the difference, if you will, between the Lions and Bears on both offense and defense. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say. If you realistically want to talk about it, the biggest difference, I'm getting ahead of myself. The biggest difference between the two teams is how good the Lions' offense is versus how bad the Bears' defense is. So that's where we're going to start off here, hence the reason why I have the title the way I do. So let's take a look at it really quickly. Let's take a look at the Lions' offensive stats and rankings so far on the year, and then we'll compare those to the Bears' offensive stats and rankings, and then we'll kind of use that to springboard ourselves into the logical reasoning, the analysis, the comparison, all that happy stuff that you guys know that I do. So let's do it here. When you take a look at the Lions' offensive stats and rankings for the year, absolutely just completely wonderful. There's a couple of blemishes here or there, but for the most part, the Lions' offense is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Now, when you take a look at their stats, They've got 241 points for themselves. That's ranked 8th. They have 3,658 yards. That's ranked 3rd. 5.9 an average a play, ranked 4th. They have 199 first downs, ranked 9th. Passing yards, almost 2,500. They're ranked 6th. Rushing yards, almost 1,300, ranked 7th. Passing first downs, 120, tied for 7th. Rushing first downs, 66, ranked 8th. Rushing average, 4.5 a carry, tied for 7th. Penalties, tied for 7th. Third down percentage, ranked 15th. Could be a little better. Fourth down percentage, ranked 11th. Red zone percentage, not that good though, 26%. However, though, their scoring drive percentage is 41%, which is ranked 9th. I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. Turnover percentage, ranked 12th. Passing plays of 20 yards or more, ranked 3rd. Rushing plays of 20 or more, ranked 5th. Passing plays of 40 or more, tied 8th. And rushing plays of 40 or more, they're tied for 2nd. Now, like I said, all of those stats just look absolutely wonderful, except the red zone percentage, which is ranked 48.4%, which ranks 26%. So it's like, wait a minute here. How can the Lions have a red zone offense that's that bad? That in general looks bad. And I'll be honest, to a certain degree, it definitely is bad. Because here's what it tells me, is that when we typically get in the red zone, we have even money almost making points. That's not good as far as, scoring touchdowns. And for me, that's a bit of a problem. But here's what makes this kind of whole thing kind of be a little wonky, a little screwy, if you will. How can we be ranked 26th in red zone percentage, yet we're ranked 9th in terms of total scoring drive percentage? Here's how I kind of balance this whole thing out. You have to understand something here. When offenses get into the red zone, likewise with the defenses, it usually gets much more difficult to score points because you're dealing with a much more compressed area. That's why red zone offense is a very, very crucial key part of an offense's ability to score points. Because when you start getting into those tighter spaces, you got to be more precise, you have to be more crisp. And these are all things that teams desperately work on throughout the course of the year because they want to get better at it. So this is definitely an area that the Lions on offense need to get better at. However, though, like I said, their scoring drive percentage is ranked 9th. So here's how I balance the two out. That means, one, the Lions are scoring on a lot of their drives. I mean, they're ranked top 10 in the NFL on offense, so that's good. But what it tells me is when we get into the red zone, it's about 50-50 money on whether or not we're actually going to get points. But if we're outside of the red zone or if we're kicking field goals, we're usually scoring pretty much on about 41% of our drives. Again, that's not 50%, but for the NFL, that's still top 10. So that's how I kind of balance it out. I know that might sound a little weird to people, but you have to understand how these percentages and rankings work themselves out here. It's like, listen, in the red zone, we still need to get a lot better. But on pretty much the majority of our drives, we're getting points. When you're in the top 10, you're doing something right. It just means we need to work better in the red zone. Now, that's the Lions offense. Apart from the red zone percentage, I'm pretty content with everything. Virtually almost everything else is top 10, top 5. So for me, I'm happy with the Lions offense. Now, let's flip over and we take a look at the Bears defense. That's where things get really peculiar here because the Bears defense I always love dogging the Bears. The Bears are just bad. Like I said, Winnie the Pooh Bear, Care Bears, whatever term you'd like to use, they're just not good. I know they're working and I know they've got some pieces, but it's like, listen, you got to take your licks just like we did for several years. It's your time to shine, Bears fans, and you're shining pretty well. But let's take a look at the Bears' defensive stats right now. When you take a look at their points that they've given up, they're ranked 29th in the NFL, almost dead last. Yards, 21st. Yards per play, they're tied for 18th. First downs given up, they're ranked 20th. Passing yards, they're ranked 30th. They're almost dead last. Their rushing yards, on their hand, they're top 5. They're ranked 4th. Passing first downs, they're ranked 30th. Again, almost dead last. Rushing first downs, again, they're tied 4th. They're in the top 5. Rushing average, they've got the number 1 rushing average on defense. So again, their rushing defense looks really good. Penalties wise, they're tied for first. They have a very clean, very efficient defense. Third down percentage, tied for 30th. They can't stop anybody on third down. On fourth down percentage, it's 23rd. Again, not much better. Red zone percentage, they have one of the worst red zone defenses in the NFL. It's ranked 31st. They are one spot above from the bottom. It gives up red zone points 72.4% of the time. That's horrible. Scoring drive percentage, ranked 27th. Again, not very good. And turnover percentage, they hardly, if ever, get any turnovers. They're ranked 26th. So, pretty bad defense all around for the Bears. However, though, like I said, there is one at least statistical bright spot for the Bears. Their rushing defense. They're top 5 in rushing yards. They're top 5 in rushing first downs. And they have the number 1 rushing average defense. So for me, that would sound like, hey, that looks pretty good for the Bears. However, though, I'm one of those people that likes to go further and further and further in the stats. Again, it's one of my oddities, but this is a time when it really, really helped me out. Because I'm like, okay, here, how can a defense as bad as the Bears be so bad at everything else, but they can stop the run? That to me just doesn't make any damn sense. That's just kind of like an oddity. It's like, hey, you know what? There's a blue elephant just standing in the middle of the room and nobody's addressing it. So I'm going to address the blue elephant, or some people might call it the pink elephant. Whatever term you'd like to call it, I'm going to address it. So I started to take a look at the opponents that the Bears had faced and what their rushing attacks were. This was a huge piece of information that really explained why the Bears' rushing defense is a lot better than what it really is. Let me enlighten y'all here really quickly. If you take a look at the Bears' opponents' rushing attacks that they've gone up against, oh good Lord. Now you'd understand why their rushing defense looks so good. The Packers' rush offense, ranked 23rd. The Bucs' rush offense, ranked 31st. The Chiefs' rush offense, ranked 21st. The Broncos' rush offense, ranked 14th. Commanders, 27th. Vikings, 28th. Raiders, 29th. Chargers, 24th. Saints, 15th. Panthers, 30th. There's a very clear and evident pattern there. If you if you realistically think about it, the freaking Bears have gone up against every bottom rushing offense, save the dead last one, number 32, from virtually ranked number 27 all the way down to rank 31. Because Commanders are 27, Vikings are 28, Raiders are 29, Panthers are 30, and the freaking Bucs are 31. If you realistically even want to take it even further, only 2 teams out of the entire list of opponents that I just mentioned are top 15 or better. And that's the Broncos and also the freaking Saints. Those are the only 2 top 15 rushing offenses that the Bears have gone against. So what does that tell me? The reason why the Bears' rushing defense is most likely as good as it is, because they've gone against some really crappy rushing offenses. Because again, they haven't faced a top 10 rushing offense yet. So for me, it's like, okay, let's keep this in perspective, because some people might say, well, David, maybe the Bears are just that good and the opposing offenses that they've gone against are just really bad. That's possible, but let's keep something in perspective here. We've gone through half of the season by now. I could understand if we were talking a couple of games or whatnot, but when you have as many opponents that I just mentioned and they're all in the bottom tier of rushing offense, that's not most likely the defense, because think about it. The Bears have only played against these opponents one time each. They haven't double dipped on any of them just yet. And like what I'm trying to say there is they are going to double dip on some of them, such as the Packers and the Vikings. But so far, they haven't. So for me, it's like, okay, you could make that argument if they had double dipped. But at this point, it's all a singular entity. So for me, it's like, listen, I just think that the opposing offenses they've gone against are just really crappy, which has really helped out the Bears' rushing statistics, at least on defense. Because think about this, folks. Now we're going to take these stats and we're going to start putting them into comparative analysis here. Because here's why I think the Lions' offense is really going to put a hurting on the Bears. Because let's think about this here, folks. If you think about it, like I said, division rivalry games, they're always more fun. They're always more personal because it's a rivalry game. And this game has a lot of earmarks for even more personal because of, one, we're going to have our running back going back to his home team in David Montgomery going to play against the freaking Chicago Bears. Now, granted, he's not going back to Chicago, at least not now, but he's still going to be playing his former team. So this game has got a lot of earmarks of emotional rivalry. It's going to be a very, very tense game. And there's going to be players that are going to be wanting to step up to make their mark. And again, this is another big game for the Lions because this is only their second divisional game. They've only played one divisional game this year, and that's when we played the Packers in Lambeau and we won 34-20. So for me, this game has a lot of big components about it. This is a really big game. It may not be Thursday night football like when we played the Packers, but it has just as much significance as that game because you're talking about playoff race, you're talking about playoff seeding, you're talking about bragging rights, you're talking about emotion. Like, this game is really, really big, despite the fact that the opponent we're playing is not all that good. Now, when we take a look at the opponents and virtually everything else, and I'm not talking about the statistics, like, it's very clear why the freaking Lions are the clear favorites and why they are the very, very heavy favorites. Like, I don't think anybody and their brother, unless they're the most diehard Bears fan or potentially most delusional Bears fan, is going to think the Bears are going to win this game. Because think about it, the Lions have the better record. They have the better offense. They have the better defense. They have the better quarterback. They have the better coaches, better running backs, better wide receivers, better tight ends, better everything, really. Like, there's not really an area that I can think of where the Bears are better than the Lions, whether it's in terms of talent, whether it's in terms of coaching, whether it's in terms of virtually anything except losing. And that's just for right now. And again, I'm not trying to sound smug. It's just the truth. And I guarantee you this, as much as I'm sounding smug right now, I guarantee you this, there are plenty of Lions fans that will be instantly ready to say, yeah, we dealt with all this nonsense for years. It's our turn to kind of dish it out a little bit here. It's all fair in love and war. Now, when we keep all that in perspective, let's think about this as well. I told you all that the Lions offense is virtually just a juggernaut. It is pretty much running a clinic almost every damn week. Whereas the freaking Bears defense is a mash unit because it just can't stop anybody. It's just a bleeding heart all over the place. And here's why I think that this game presents a massive opportunity yet again for the Lions offense. Because you have to think about it. Last week, the Lions offense went up against a similar defense in the Chargers that could stop virtually no one through the air throwing the ball. And take a look at what happened. Jared Goff and this passing offense completely shredded the Chargers. We threw for 333 yards. The Chargers didn't get any sacks on Jared Goff. Jared Goff had a passer rating of 122.4 and a QBR rating of 76.4, and he had 2 touchdown passes. Pretty much the way I look at it is this. The Chargers have a much better defense in terms of, not only in terms of statistics, but also in terms of talent. I fully expect Jared Goff's going to have yet another big day. And part of the reason I think Jared Goff's going to have a big day, other than the fact that I think Jared Goff is just really that damn good, you have to think about this, folks. We're going up against a defense that, like I just demonstrated, has not really gone up against a really top-end rushing attack. But we just went up against a Chargers defense that was top 10 last week. And what did we do against that defense? We put up 200 yards rushing and 3 rushing touchdowns. So for me, that's pretty damn significant. We're going up against a Bears defense that has not been tested on the ground really that much, and we just went up against a top 10 defense in the Chargers, who have actually gone up against some decent rushing teams, and we pretty much put the spanking on them. We pretty much hurt them. And again, I fully expect that the Lions' rushing attack is going to get something because, again, freaking David Montgomery is going to be out for revenge. He's going to be looking forward for this game. He's already said this is a game that he's had marked on his calendar. And again, with freaking Gibbs back there doing what he does best, that 1-2 punch, it's going to open up rushing lanes, which is going to open up the play action passing, which is going to allow Jared Goff to do what he always does. Again, it's a match made in heaven. So for me, I just don't really see a way that this Bears defense is going to get the better of the Lions offense. The Lions are at home. The offense always does much better at home. The Bears defense is worse both in terms of talent, in terms of statistical rankings than the Chargers. So for me, like I said, I just don't see how the Bears defense is going to stop this Lions offense. I'm not saying they're not going to get a stop. I'm just saying I don't know how they're going to stop the Lions offense over the totality of the game. But anyway, with that having been said, I think I've presented the evidence pretty good, pretty well. But the way I'm going to call this is just simply saying thank you all for watching yet another episode of Motor City Mania. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I hope you guys loved it, and I hope I can continue to get you guys to come back. Likewise, I also hope that you guys will do one of these 3 things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you've subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you've not had a chance to do so, again, I'm going to highly encourage y'all, please subscribe. It helps me out immensely, and I'm ever so thankful for when you do. But I also want to encourage y'all, please, when you subscribe, make sure you turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure that you guys turn on the notification icon, so that way you guys are always back as soon as I push something out. I also want to encourage y'all, please, to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. Again, it helps me out, and I'm ever so thankful for when you do it. And likewise, I just want to say this as well. I hope you guys again enjoyed all the I hope you guys enjoyed all of the content, pardon me. And I also want to say this. Again, thank you all for the view. Thank you all for everything that you guys do. You guys are such an awesome audience, and I'm ever so thankful. And I just want to say, God bless. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.